There's no such thing as a kid who hates reading. On one hand, you have those kids that love to read. On the other hand, you have kids who are reading the wrong books. Let that sink in for a second. There are kids that love to read and kids who are just simply reading the wrong books. Now I'll tell you firsthand growing up, I didn't buy this. I despised reading. I couldn't stand it. In fact, for the majority of my life, it was something that I really struggled with. Now, it wasn't until 5 years ago I sat down with a mentor of mine, somebody who meant a lot to me, and I said, can I have a simple book recommendation? I told myself whichever book he recommended, I would read, no matter what, no questions asked, and I did. It was this book recommendation that changed everything. It became a pivotal point in my life. As it turns out, I didn't hate reading. I was reading the wrong books. And at Inky, every single day we share that same power of a great book recommendation with people all over the world. That begs the question, what's the best way to recommend a book to someone? And as it turns out, you can learn a lot about a person just by looking at their bookshelf. Inky is a curated book subscription service. And here's how it works. Say you're a subscriber. You upload a picture of your bookshelf based on your reading history, what you've read in the past. We hand select the book for you, put it in a box, and ship it right to your door for $15 a month. What if you're futuristic? We'll ship your book right to your Kindle, Nook, or iPad. There it is. In our first 4 months of business, we've spread the power of a great book recommendation all over the world, shipping out hundreds and hundreds of books, doubling sales in October, growing sales again in November. But in our early growth, we've realized we have to take a step back and focus on what we need to do to build this business to scale. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So here's a picture of a bookshelf sent in by an actual subscriber. Now, each and every time somebody sends in a picture like this, my co-founder, Michaela, and myself, we go through every single one by hand and make a recommendation. And you could have guessed it, this takes absolutely forever. It takes a long time to go through all these bookshelves every month. It worked all right when we had like 10 or 11, but as we grew, we realized it's extremely time-consuming. And second, our recommendation is limited by our knowledge of books. We as people can't possibly conceive of every book ever written, but software can. For these two reasons, we're creating software to analyze a picture of a bookshelf and make a book recommendation off of what it sees. It'll eliminate the time spent, but more importantly, it enables us to make the best recommendation possible for our customers. So my co-founder, Michaela, and myself, we started this business in a classroom at Siena College. And from there, we took it beyond the classroom. We completed the Ignite You Accelerator program right down the street here in Troy. We were one of the first teams ever from Siena College to make it to the finals in the New York State Business Plan competition. And just this week, we're in the final stages of partnering with one of the largest book distributors in the United States. I can remember when we shipped out our first 2 books. Now next year, we're on pace to ship out 7,000 books from the city of Troy. This community has done so much for us. I've been coming to these for 4 years, and it means a lot to come up here my senior year to be able to do this and say that we're moving out of the classroom and here to the city of Troy to continue to grow. So this would normally be, thank you, excited for Troy. So we've talked about what we do, we've talked about how we do it, but I want to touch a little bit more on why. Ladies and gentlemen, the book buying experience is dying. Look around. Barnes & Noble sales are declining. Borders is out of business. Mom and pop bookstores are dropping like flies. Who in the world would want to get into the business of selling books right now? And here's how I answer that question. We don't sell books. Books are a byproduct of what we sell. If you want a book, you log onto Amazon, you buy it, it's going to be at your door in 2 days, and you're going to pay a great price for it. If you want to buy something more, if you want to buy the experience of reading a great book, the experience of having a curated service, send a book right to your door, that's what you buy from us. That leads me to my final thought. There's a lot of ways to get to know someone, especially in this day and age. But we at Inky continue to truly believe one of the best ways to get to know a person is just by looking at their bookshelf. When you look at someone's bookshelf, you get to see what topics they choose to sit down and really spend time with. It's like looking at someone's intellectual roadmap. It shows you where a person has been, and that can tell you a lot. So yes, we're creating software to analyze a picture of a bookshelf and make a recommendation, but we believe in our core, we're building something more. We're building software that gets to know people and makes their lives better through the power of a great book recommendation. Thank you. I'll have my co-founder come up for a couple of questions.
I have a question. Why haven't you been on Shark Tank and sold this to Mark Cuban?
The question was, why haven't we been on Shark Tank and sold this to Mark Cuban?
Your presentation is awesome.
Thank you. That's a good question. We'll apply. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the transition from the two of you making hand selections and the curator work was dead on to automating that and not losing that curator functionality of what you do.
So the question was, how do we transition from making the selections ourselves to eventually making software make that selection for us? So our theory is, if you're creating software to do something, you should put yourselves in the shoes of your software first. If we tried to build software 3 months ago, we would have no idea what to build. But now that we've put ourselves in the position that our software is going to be, when it comes time, we're beginning the process, to build this software, we'll know exactly how to do it.
Have you decided who is your most important customer?
The question was, have you decided who is our most important customer? The answer to that question, I see our most important customer being the dedicated lifelong learner, and eventually we'll be looking into kids' books, and we see that as a big market moving forward next year.
How would you appeal to someone who doesn't have books, for example?
I'm sorry.
How would you appeal to someone who doesn't have a bookshelf?
Yes. How do you appeal to someone who doesn't like books? Great question. The idea is, once we create the software for books, that it can apply to other interests, such as music, record collecting, things along that line. One more?
Are you Stitch Fix for books?
Stitch Fix for books. Are we Stitch Fix for books? I'm unfamiliar with Stitch Fix. Okay.
Kind of similar, I guess. I think that ours might be a little bit more of an experience where there you're sort of picking out like what you want, I guess, per se, but that is a surprise in the sense. So it is very similar. It's another subscription, but it's a little different.
Thank you very much.
Yep.